Alright, what's up everybody? So today we are going to be talking about doing some jetting on your Yfz450. I get this question a lot. When our standard elevation is usually between 600 and 800 foot when we're jetting. And usually your big changes are going to be, which is going to push you into rejetting your quad, is open air box or full exhaust. Those are going to be the two biggest mods that are common that is what's going to change your jetting. That, or I guess if you're traveling to a different area with a way different elevation. But for the most part, it's going to be exhaust and open air box. So this is our Yfz450. And when we started building this, our biggest thing was putting a 48 pilot and a 178 main. And that always seemed to be happy on the Yamaha here. We had a previous Yamaha. We also ran the same setup. And on a Honda 450, we ran a 45 pilot and a 176 main, I think, possibly. And that was with a slip-on and an open air box. So there's so many different variables, guys, as far as even coming down to like the fuel that you guys run and, you know, little mods, but it's always a good starter point being around that area. And then at that point, you just got to work, you know. And it could also be as far as like your needle setting too. So one thing on the Yfz450 is that on the stock needle, there's no adjustment. So you don't need it, but it does help tune in your quad, and that's going to be your mid-range. Your pilot is always going to be from pretty much idle to, believe it's quarter throttle. And that's all pilot effects. It's just literally that beginning, you know, erupt, you know, as far as if it, you know, your response. Now, in your main, really controls everything else for the most part. So even if you're that's why having the no clip on the needle is not a huge thing, because your main actually controls that. Now, if you're running slightly lean on the main and you had an adjustable needle, you could fatten it up on the needle setting, which would make you not able to or need to change the main. Another thing on the carbs on the Yfz450s, it's called a zip tie mod. If you haven't done it, it's not a bad little mod to do on these quads. I've had it on here. This carb actually here, it was sent out and we had it bored out to a 41.5. So now I think there's a lot more options as far as just buying another carb and all that. But back when we were doing this, 41.5, having it bored out was the way to do it. Plus we wanted to keep the original carb. One of the big things you're going to see when I jet this quad here, when I'm jetting this quad, is that I'm running oxygenated fuel, which running oxygenated aviation fuel, pretty much what you're doing is you're cramming more air through the fuel into your quad. And when you have more air, you need more fuel, and that's why you run bigger jets. So on this one here, we are running a 58 for the pilot, and we are running a 210 on the main. And she's still running lean, but she is starting to run better than our previous video. So we are going to show you guys that. But one of the big things as far as maybe realizing that you're running lean is if your idle is under, if you can't control your idle on startup, if it like wants to rev high, or when you burp the gas and it doesn't want to come down quick, if it just kind of seems like it like stays like revving a little bit and then it slowly creeps down, you're running too lean. If you can't adjust your idle down through your idle control and it just wants to stay idling at maybe almost a rough sound almost a little bit, you're probably running lean. So it's not until you're running rich is that the quad wants to stumble and you can't actually get the idle to come up, would be the opposite there. So same thing with the main and all that. You're going to hear it want to cut out. You're going to see a lot of backfiring. You might think the flames look cool out of your exhaust, but that means you're running super lean. And that's no bueno. So we're going to do a fire up on the quad right here. But those are some of the basic things I wanted to talk to you guys about easy jetting. Hit me up in the, if you got any questions and all that. And we're going to actually fire this quad up with a mic today and give you guys a little bit better sound quality. Alright, so not only was I not going to give you guys a run down the road because it's 25 degrees today, but apparently I was at least going to give you guys the GoPro with the aftermarket mic to give you guys a little better sound quality, but because it's so cold, the GoPros still don't want to work. So we're going to make this really simple. But to show you guys here, we do have a site for all our merch and all that. Here's our new shirts here, FSI. And we got old Risk It for the Biscuit on there. Plus we got plenty of other stuff. And you got the old certified ripper hats. But we're going to do a fire up on this guy right now. So just want to show you guys there. So go to www.fullspeedimpulse.com, and that's where you find the merch. So it is super cold, and it has gotten better at starting, but it's still a little rough. So I'll give her a couple pumps. Super cold. Really, really, really cold.
Whoa.
The oxygenated fuel is a little spicy. See, if this wasn't, if it wasn't super lean, that's why you got the pop like that. Like, it's not happy. But again, we didn't jet it for 25-degree weather, so that's also our issue. It's super cold, but we just wanted to get this and show you guys some jetting tips and all that, and I'll give her. That's our Yfz450. Definitely not the starting video I wanted to give you guys, but you know, it is what it is. I'm not gonna, it's 25 degrees out. So as you can see here, we got plenty of other stuff going on right now. Garage is a little destroyed before the holidays. She's close in jetting. She's definitely lean on the bottom end, just because we can't really lower the idle down too much more than that. It doesn't want to let us, so we definitely need to fatten it up a little bit more as far as on our pilot. And then other than that, she is actually running pretty good on the top end. It seems like we probably could maybe go a smudge fatter, but yeah, I don't know. Definitely cold. Alright guys, so that's the Yfz450. If you guys, need any help on, jetting or anything like that, I'd be more than happy to try to help you guys in the right direction. Doesn't mean I'm going to give you the right advice, but, could help. I almost forgot to help you guys out with another important tuning tip. But getting yourself an adjustable, get down in here, air fuel screw would be good. Because obviously before, this is actually aftermarket, to where before you'd have to get a screwdriver and adjust it, which is a complete joke. You actually have to buy a custom tool to do it. But at least this you could do on the fly. But this helps dial your machine in just a little bit on as far as your pilot. So if you're got a little bit of hesitation off the throttle, that will actually help you a little bit. But the big thing as far as is getting your pilot and your main good. So this will only adjust you so much, and you should be usually about a turn and a half out. And if you start reaching 3 turns out, they do recommend for you to bump your pilot up. So, but that's just a little bit of tip there as far as make sure you have that guy right there. They also make ones that are actually nice. They actually loop all the way out, and then I think they mount to one of these screws here. and then you just do the twist right here, which is pretty good. So yeah, another big thing too when you're messing with your carb is getting rid of the stock of, as far as Phillips screws, and going with that Allen setup. So definitely nice that when we had a carb sent out, they actually hooked us up with that. So that was good. But yeah, that's old Yfz450 right there. Alright guys, that's just some quick tuning tips. Make sure you check out our merch at www.fullspeedimpulse.com and hit me up in that comment section and we'll see what you got going on. Alright.